wrestling state medalist and a track champion in the hurdles, both having been deployed to Afghanistan, both having returned home safely and with us this evening. Thank you for your service. Before our last speaker, I'd like this opportunity to plug the Whitfield golf tournament, better known as the Buddy Open. It will be held this year on the Sunday following Memorial Day. It will begin at noon. We'll have a round of golf, and then afterwards a barbecue with barbecue chicken, pork steaks, hot dogs, hamburgers, and all the fixings. If you play golf at all, whether you're a scratch golfer or if you play one time a year, it doesn't matter. It's all for fun. And if you don't play golf, don't want to play golf, please join us for the barbecue afterwards, which would start around 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'll be getting things out to you as reminders. We're going to shoot for 72 golfers and as many as 100 people total attending the event. It's a lot of fun. It's a Whitfield tradition, so if you can make it, please put it on your calendar. We'd love to see you there. Our last speaker obviously needs no introduction. It's my pleasure to bring to the podium Coach Charlie Sherritt.
Give him the box. He forgot the way.
That's a good idea.
The speakers before me, kids and adults alike, have talked about so many of the important things about the program that I hope I don't get redundant. But on another note, it's great to know that they believe in the values that I do as well and what the program is really all about. I want to make sure that I start off by thanking my family, my wife in particular, who tends to get neglected. Before most of the season. My daughters as well. My son's been fortunate or not fortunate, depending on how you look at it, to be involved in the program. So the girls tend to get left out of the equation a lot of times. So I thank Emily and Katie and Elena for giving up their dad for 16 weeks or longer. So also thanks to my assistant coaches, because I'm sure I'm difficult to put up with, but you guys are so important to the program, and the wives and significant others. I think everybody's pretty much married except for Ray, so thanks. Ray, don't get married. Lisa and Katrina and Shu's wife, Sarah. Who am I leaving out? Kristen, John's wife. So thanks to all of you. I got to thank a lot of people who have already been mentioned, but are extremely important to the sport, and I'm aware of everything that you guys do. I just can't stop during the season to thank you, because if I stop at the district tournament, or I stop to socialize and or meets or wherever, I just don't feel like I can afford to do that, because the kids invest so much, and I owe them my undivided attention. So, Pat and Keith and Ruth and Russ and I'm leaving some people out. Bear with me a second. Don, Scobie's putting this great banquet on. All the moms for all the cool stuff you guys did for the kids for the state meet. The coolers, the t-shirts were the best I've ever seen. Thanks for all that you guys do. And the fascinating thing to me about all these people and all their investment in the program is they're all parents of kids who have gained so much, you know, whether they had the most medals or the least medals or whatever, they know that they gained so much from this program. So thank you very much, and I hope I'm not leaving anybody out. So for the parents. I also want to say a few words about the kids. You know, the lower school kids and the lower school parents. I'm sure this is a long night. I think that a lot of the parents in this room, the high school parents who are now diehards, could probably say they sat in your seats and they're not sure they really got it all at this stage of the game. I hope that you guys hang in there. I hope you younger kids, you know, see the value in something so difficult, because you know, these guys sat in your seats many moons ago, and like you heard in the speeches, they couldn't wait for them to get over and move on and get to the cheesecake or whatever. And you know, they're different kids now. They're better kids. They're stronger kids for whatever they're going to face the rest of their lives. You know, thanks go out to the kids that come back over the holiday breaks and give back so much to the program. Ryan Mango, Jeff Nipper, Austin Smith. Austin Smith flew up from Memphis or Nashville to be with the guys at the state meet, and it was extremely important. The guys on the team, I just want to take a second to talk about, and I'll try to be brief about each and every one of them. You know, I start with Chris Halen, who joined the program in the last month of the season. I've been on the 9th grade class relentlessly for the whole month of November to come out for wrestling. I just couldn't get any bites except for Bob. And then Halen comes out the last month of the season. I'm not sure he quite gets it all yet. It's a tough time to come out. I hope you stick with it. If you stick with it, it's not rocket science. You know, you put the time and the effort in. You have the resources to be great. Nate Noss, who joined the group after we had a gaping hole at 2 weight classes. Nate's not here tonight, but still filled a valuable role for our program. Conrad, who was a converted basketball player, who joined the troops this year, and I think he understands that, he gets it now, and he's making up for lost time, and I'm extremely proud of what he's accomplished. I think I'm missing a page of some stuff that I need to go through. I don't want to leave. I got the 12 qualifiers down, but Bobby Hawkins, and some of this I mentioned at the assembly a time or two. I can't say enough about Bob and his development over the year. I mean, it's really what it's all about. He goes from a kid who wasn't playing any sports to a guy that's completely dialed in. I would have never dreamed that he would have gone in November and ended up entering our district tournament heavyweight. Bobby dropped about 20 pounds. He moves like an athlete now. He's a mainstream guy on a team now. So I admire what you've done, and that's what's, as I mentioned, in the world in which I live, you have a moral obligation to be as good as you can be at Whitfield School. I mean, that's part of it. Not to just exist, not to just, take the path of least resistance, but to be as good as you can be. Whether it's wrestling or becoming a student or becoming a good citizen, whatever, you do have that obligation. And he's living proof of that, so I'm extremely proud of him. Sam Pepos, who might as well just spill the beans right now. Sam is our Summer of Sacrifice awardee for the year, so congratulations. We had a phenomenal summer as a team. I don't know that we've ever had more kids do more than we did in the summer, but nobody did more than Sam. For those of you that don't know, Sam had a very serious injury, and the injury was going on. He doesn't say much. Kind of super talkative guy. But unbeknownst to me, the injury was going on the whole time he's training over the summer. And he's at J-Rob, and he's at Two Shirtless in Bloomsburg and TSL, and I'm probably leaving some other stuff out. But his shoulder's popping in and out of socket. He's got glenoid dysplasia, okay, which is it's the joint itself is not right. He's had surgery where both sides of his labrum have been repaired, but it's often a career-ending injury. I know a number of wrestlers that have not returned from that injury, even at the college level. So we got our fingers crossed that he's going to heal up and he's going to be back next year. He's done a wonderful job for us. So awesome job, Sam. Our sophomores, our little sophomores, Saad and Ben, who both qualified for the state meet. Took it on the chin during the regular season, split time between 106 and 113, and the 113 pounder always took the beating. But those guys hung in tough, and Ben did an awesome job at the district meet. I'm extremely proud of them. Our two sophomores on the big end, Andy and Mike, did a phenomenal job. I will tell you, I will give a pitch for camps in a little while, but the mistake I made with Andy was not pushing him to go to J-Rob. I underestimated his development through the course of the season, and there's no doubt in my mind that he'd have been on the award stand and high had he been through that camp. And he had his big brother who would have been able to hang with him at J-Rob. So big things expected out of those two boys, Andy and Mike, next year, so I'm really proud of them. Pat, who you heard get up and speak, Pat's a 3-year varsity letterman, and some of this is a little bit of repeat from what I talked about the Monday after assembly, but I find it very important that I want to give these guys recognition that they deserve. You know, at the after the MICDS tournament, it became obvious to me that we needed to make some adjustments in our lineup for the benefit of the team. We needed to move the Han boys to 45 and 52, and that was going to force Pat up to 160 pounds. We've been cutting down to 145. With our training schedule, it was going to be impossible for him to gain the weight back to be as competitive as he needed to be at 160 pounds. But without hesitation, he did that for the team. And I'm extremely proud of him. And when you talk about guys sacrificing for the betterment of the team, it doesn't get any bigger than what Pat did for the team. I'm extremely proud of him. I would like to think that the people in this room get it better than the average sap who sits in assembly. But I talked about Jake. I talked about his limited natural ability. Okay, not everybody's an athlete. Matter of fact, very few are natural athletes. And I think Jake proved what could be done with hard work. He was arguably in the deepest weight class in the state meet, and ended up in the top 8, but 1 point shy of entering the top 6. Lost to the 2-time defending state champ, 3-time defending state champion, and the kid who ended up 4th place. I'm extremely proud of what he did, including his heroic 15-second down 8-3 comeback in the consolations. Congratulations, Jake. Scobie. I was hard on him. Sometimes downright mean. The kid doesn't have a mean bone in his body, but he was competing against a lot of kids, you know, who were, you know, rough and mean. And he was going to have to find a way to turn the tables for 6 minutes or less and go from nice guy to mean guy. during that time. And, I'm extremely proud of what he did. I describe him as the academic type. With not a mean bonus body, but he found a way to get tough in the tough situations and earn a state medal. Our state medalists, I don't know what more I can say. What they did in the semifinals and the state finals was remarkable. Described Austin. You wonder where this fits in the role of a captain on your team, but he's one of the kindest kids that I've ever coached. I mean, what he overcame to defeat, a kid that had beaten him twice, 10-2 in previous state meets, to overcome that mentally was really phenomenal. I'm extremely proud of him. With him and Ethan, I'm convinced that had they not done what they did last summer, they were always busy in the summer, always working, but had they not set the pace they did last summer, they wouldn't have stood at the top of the podium. Ethan, his job is pretty tough. I would like to share an excerpt of an email correspondence I had with Ian Assell, who most of the guys know is Ken Shirto's right-hand man, director of the Shirto summer camps. Bear with me 1 second. As Ethan told you in his speech, he suffered a complete tear of his LCL on January 14th. He trained in a brace with aluminum sports till he left for state. I've talked for years about breaking my thumb in the state semifinals when I was a junior and how nothing was going to derail me from my goal. I gladly trade his limited ability for his unconditional belief in what I preach. I'm lucky. To which the response from Coach Assell was, "That's awesome, man. Really effing inspirational." On multiple levels. I know what it's like to walk in his shoes of being the coach's kid. There's no escape. The rest of you guys deal with me for a couple hours a day. He has no escape. I'm really proud of the distance that he covered over the last few years, because he's come a long way. And those that know, from when he was a 7th or 8th grader to where he is now, it's truly phenomenal. And you young guys ought to be listening to this. The Hahn boys. Will. They talked in assembly. I stood up there 25 months earlier, talked about him having a severe knee injury that was going to sideline him, and it was going to take away a part of his identity. Kid who's wrestled since he was 5 years old. 2 surgeries later, and 18 months of rehab, while his brother was getting the headlines, I said, Will willed his way to the state championship at 152 pounds. His brother Rod, now a 2-time state champ, made a big sacrifice to cut to 145 pounds and to provide his brother a better opportunity to be an individual state champ. And something that I think is extremely moving to me, that I've watched those guys together. And I said, I'd never seen a young man who loves his older brother so much. Chris Wilkes, who is arguably the unsung hero of the tournament. He was the class of 132. He had wrestled 130 last year. Now I was asking him to drop to 126 pounds for the strength of our team. It would have been easy for him to fight it, and he didn't. I talked to him in the past about becoming a team player and what it was going to take for him to ever be a captain on the team. His selfless act and his Spartan diet of turkey, whole wheat rice pasta, fruits and vegetables, brown rice pasta, forced him down to 126, and he won a state tournament. The moral of the story, as you've heard Keith and kids and everybody else talk about, is this band of brothers. This guy is sacrificing on behalf of their teammates. In a sport that is often called an individual sport, this was a team of guys. A team of guys who bought in, and I told them that if they did, then on that Saturday night, they would have something to be very proud of. And I like to think that they truly do. Congratulations, guys. And I'd also like to thank our wrestling managers. And I won't talk about them when they were catfighting. They were an awesome addition to our program, and we loved having you guys around. We've talked about the hard work of this program and doing it the right way. Not taking shortcuts, leaving as little to chance as possible. And that's the way I think they ought to carry themselves forward into life. Whether they're graduating or they got more time left. I'd like to paraphrase just a quote from Vince Lombardi that I've kind of tried to model my program after. And I know the days get long, but all of a sudden, you're going to be standing up here, and you're going to be seniors, and it's going to be over. It is really a blink in time in your life. And as Coach Lombardi said, I've never known a man worth his salt who in the long run, deep down in his heart, didn't appreciate the grind, the discipline, and there's a lot of that in this program. There's something in good men that really yearns for discipline and the harsh reality of head-to-head combat. I don't say these things because I believe in the brute nature of man or that men must be brutalized to be combative. But I firmly believe that any man's finest hour, the greatest fulfillment of all that he holds dear, is the moment when he has worked his heart out in a good cause and lies exhausted on the field of battle. I think that personifies this program. I want to thank all that have supported us through the season. It's exhausting, I know, for the parents. I know it's exhausting for the rest of the supporters that I mentioned earlier. And it'd be easy for me to stand up here and say that there's more to this if we took second. But I looked at that shirt that the moms put together, Stephanie and company. I'm not even 100% sure who was all involved. And I believe that we are the business model. We are the model for Whitfield School. We are Whitfield. We stand for the best of Whitfield. And I'm extremely proud of you. Congratulations, guys. We have some trophies behind us that we just don't have room for on the trophy case. They would sit in the closet or sit in our wrestling cage. And we've decided that we would have our own outstanding wrestler for these 4 trophies. The coaches got together, and our first one was before New Year's was a Granite City tournament, and would be hard to justify giving this award to anyone but the guy who beat the #1 ranked guy in the country. Mount Olive tournament. And that we had a couple guys, and this was a little bit tougher. But one guy stood out. First time in a tournament down to 138 pounds. Unseeded. Tech Falls the #1 seed. And then Penn in the finals, second or third seed. Outstanding wrestler from Mount Olive goes to Jake Becker. Route 141 Rumble. Austin wrestled 138 most of the year, okay, until Chris dropped to 100, dropped out of 32 and down to 26. And I believe that was part of the reason that he was so successful when he dropped to 132, that he had toughed it out at 138 pounds, wrestling bigger or stronger opponents, and had to find a way to win, okay? Had to have more strategy, more finesse, and not just overpower people. So Route 41 Rumble, outstanding wrestler, goes to Austin Smith. And finally, outstanding wrestler in the MICDS tournament, seated only, were you seated 4th, Andy? No, you were seated about 8th.
No, you were seated 4th.
No.
Yes, he was.
No.
You were seated 4th.
Yeah, well anyways, down 6-0 in the semis, he sticks one of the top seeds,
The #1 seed.
the #1 seed, and then proceeds to stick a kid in the finals. So, outstanding wrestler for the MICDS tournament goes to Andy. Whitfield gets district and state. Those are staying home. Guy left out and certainly didn't intentionally do that was Derek Swaney, the latest addition to the program. And Derek transferred from Priory, and the sacrifice he made by doing that was 365 days of non-varsity competition. Derek's been part of TSL. I'm giving you a little background for people that don't know. He's been part of TSL after his freshman year and traveled to some summer camps with us and so on. And you know, we're glad he made the leap to Whitfield. And I challenge any of the other wrestlers in the room to keep his pace this summer, this spring and summer. If you do, you're going to be something special, because he's on a mission. And we'll have him towards the end of the next